Hello, so this is just a quick 10-minute stretch as an antidote to doing lots of sitting, computer work. We tend to keep quite tight in and just use our wrists, so the whole arm, shoulders get really achy. So that's what we're going to focus on for this little 10-minute tea break workout stretch. And just to begin, wide leg stance. If you have mobility issues, you can adapt these to seated. So just start twisting your wrists. Try and keep your shoulders down. So if you roll them back and down so that they're not tensing up, and you're going to allow just natural gravity weight to pull those shoulders down at the ears, and just start turning the wrists. Now, part of this is not just obviously the motion which is working your wrists and lower arms, but it's also bringing a lot of blood and circulation to those fingertips. We've often got our arms crooked and doing the mouse or texting or whatever in these lockdown days, and therefore we don't have that nice full range of movement. So this might get a bit achy, and that's fine. If it gets a bit achy, just start shaking it. As I said, especially if you get quite cold fingertips, this shaking all your circulation into your digits is a good way, a quick, efficient way of doing it. So you can very gently push with feet nice and flat to the floor, just gently jig, and then just pause a moment and see if you can feel tingling in those fingertips. That's a good sign of circulation getting into those joints. So we're going to now raise arms and just let them flop. So again, this is just warming and waking up the joints in the arms and the wrists, and getting a bit of motion, just stretching and flexing. So to do it a couple of times isn't going to do very much, so we try and at least do 30 seconds, if not a minute, of doing this. And it also helps release and relax out the shoulders, which just through thought and attention inevitably creep up to your ears. And the other thing that we do when we're very focused on something right in front of us is to round up over it. So it is nice, first of all, just to stand instead of being seated, and to do something where you're actually pulling those shoulders down and away from that curved in position. Okay, now going into shoulder shrugs. So squeeze it up and just release it. Squeeze up, release. So if you are quite good at breath control, the breath is a really powerful way of releasing tension in the particularly the areas where psychologically we dump into. Shoulders and hips are two of them classic areas. So if you can breathe in and the exhale, if you can do slow controlled breathing, it sends signals to your brain, to the parasympathetic nervous system, to relax, which in turn helps your muscles to relax. It'll also help, because of the better blood flow to your shoulders and your neck, means that you can think more clearly, which if you've been cramped over a desk or over a device for a long time, you do get really quite constricted, and this should help your efficiency and your thoughts and your clarity of thinking. So now we'll just go into a twist, just patting, letting your hands fall naturally on the hips. It's quite nice anyway, because a gentle bit of tapping is another good way getting some circulation into the lower back. And also this is just allowing gravity again to pull down and release out those shoulders. The other thing about a twist is it's a very gentle squeeze of the spine to get a bit of fluid flow down that spinal cord, and also to wring out and release those muscles. Lovely. So we're now going to do a little qigong move with one hand. So your arms are wide, shrug those shoulders back and down, soft knee stance. You want to be comfortable and quite broad-based. Press one hand in front of you and across the chest, but try and keep these hips facing square, and that's going to get a nice little twist through, and you'll feel it across your shoulders. With the other hand, press that in the opposite direction. Just about see my hand. So you're pressing your arms in opposite directions, and you're just wringing out, really getting into that space between the shoulders where it can get really achy. And then release that down, and then press the hand up to the other side, trying to keep those hips square, and press that other hand behind as far as you can. We're going to do this on a breath. So breathe in wide, exhale across. Breathe in wide, exhale across. Breathe in wide. If you want to, you can also add a little dip just to get a bit of extra movement. Breathe out across, breathe in up, breathe out across. Still trying to keep those hips square. Open and across, open and across. So this is not just opening out between the shoulders, but the thing about being static a lot, about sitting, is tension is much more easily removed by movement than it is holding a stretch on an already tense muscle. So gentle flowing movement is actually more effective before you go into any kind of stretching. And by keeping our arms low, we're keeping tension out of those shoulders. Okay, one last time across the chest and release. Now we're going to do a hand squeeze, and bear with me because this can be really quite challenging, but it's really good for strengthening your wrist muscles without putting any pressure on them. So just hold your hands at a reasonable height, clench, and then splay open wide as you can. Clench and splay. So for all those texters out there who spend a lot of time texting or just gripping computer mice, you know what I'm talking about. But anything where you're gripping, so start speeding up the open and close. And at first it feels fine. If you really want a challenge, hold it above your head. If that's too much, then bring it down. After a while, you start to lose sensation, and that's fine. They're really working hard. It's really helping strengthening those muscles that get very neglected. And if it's really painful, do stop, don't go beyond. But it is a very, very, very good practice, and it will bring quite a lot of heat into those wrists and hands, which is a really, really good way of balancing all that static sitting down computer work. So the next thing we're going to do is actually use our wrists and shoulders by plank against the wall. So find a door or a plank. You can even find a window ledge or something. Rest your hands, take a step back so that your arms are able to be relatively straight, but you still want to have a little bit of a bend in them. And then just slowly lower yourself towards the wall. It's a nice stretch to the back of the feet. Keep your abs pulled in. So you almost want a pelvic tuck so that you don't arch in the back. And you just press forward and away. Try not to lock the arms, so you don't want to completely straighten the arms. Always have a little bit of softness there. And do this as many times as you like. If you don't want to do lots of reps, by the way, also when you're doing this, try not to hunch up. Keep your neck long, so look slightly up ahead of your hands, and try and keep those shoulders pulled down together so that you're not hunching up. Now, if you don't want to do lots of reps, another way of getting benefit from this is just by traction. Push hard against the wall. Just keep pushing. Softness in the elbows. You want a little bend in the elbow, and just keep pushing. Really grind those feet into the floor. Pull in those abs and push really, really, really hard, and you'll feel your shoulders engage. You'll feel lots of heat and warmth, though, especially if you've got a lot of tension in your shoulders. Believe it or not, this is a really good way of waking it all up and getting some circulation in there. So push hard as you can and release. So that's also good on the wrists, good for the arms, good for the shoulders. And all you need is a flat surface to push against. You can, of course, do it down on the floor if you like, but this is a much quicker, easier way of doing it. So our next move is going to, again, do a release, especially after the wrist work. Bring the hands up and then flick, 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 flick down. Sweep the arms up on a breath. And exhale, down, 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 down. Breathe in, sweep up. Flick, 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 flick. Breathe in up. Flick, 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 flick. And the flicking, it's for releasing tension out of the wrists, out of the forearms. Breathe in up. The breath is helping your nervous system to relax and calm. And the motion in the shoulder is helping tension there too. And I hope you feel the nice warm glow around the shoulders, wrists and arms. And please do one of my other videos.